The story of the prince and the gypsy girl. While she was in that state, the spoiled son of the king passed by there while riding his horse. As soon as his eyes fell upon that young, beautiful gypsy girl, despite her simplicity, a feeling of absurdity and heavy joking occurred to him. He approached her haughtily and said sarcastically, "The sesame you knead it, and the dung you chew it. What is the name of this village, my dear?" But the girl was quick-witted. Her intelligence was not less than her beauty, so she initiated a reply with the same tone of sarcasm. "And you, on the back of your horse, are being arrogant. This village's name is Rajkumar." Her words angered the prince, as he saw in her answer a challenge to his prestige and a boldness that his pride could not accept. So he shouted angrily, "Do you dare to address the king's son in this manner? I will make you regret it. I will marry you, and then divorce you at the fourth turn on the wedding day. Thus, you will be neither married nor single." He said it, and then turned around, leaving. But the girl was not one to let the insult pass without a response, so she shouted after him with steadiness, "Stop, you arrogant person. I swear if your pride is not humbled at the hand of your son, and your face smeared with blackness, and he slaps you 7 slaps, then I am not the daughter of gypsies." The prince did not answer her, but he departed with his heart boiling. When he returned to the palace, his condition changed. He refrained from food and drink, and isolated himself from people until news of his illness spread in the palace. The king and queen tried to find out what afflicted him, but he used to evade them and would not disclose anything. The queen said to her husband, "Perhaps he has fallen into a matter he is ashamed to mention before us. It is best that we send his close friend to him, so perhaps he will bring out what is in his chest." The king agreed, so the prince's friend was summoned. As soon as he was alone with the prince, the latter burst into tears and told him what happened with the gypsy girl. He said with anxiety, "I threatened her that I would marry her and then abandon her at the fourth turn. How do I execute that now?" His friend laughed and said with disdain, "Is this what disturbed your sleep and made you leave food? Leave the matter to me. I will speak to the king." The prince hesitated and said, "But how will my father accept this?" So his friend reassured him, "Leave the matter to me." The friend went to the king, but he did not mention to him except half the truth, saying, "My lord, the prince's heart has become attached to a girl from the children of the gypsies, and from the intensity of his attachment to her, he left food." The king wondered and said, "For this reason only? I will send a formal proposal to her family." On the next day, the king sent one of the priests to the gypsy's house carrying a royal marriage offer. When the news reached the girl's father, he stood in great confusion, for he was a simple farmer living on his daily sustenance, while the prince was the son of the king. How could the two opposites meet? The heart of the girl's father was not reassured by this marriage, but he did not dare to reject an order issued by the king himself. Rejecting the offer would have meant the outbreak of war between the king and the gypsies, so he was forced to agree submissively. As for the gypsy girl, she did not show her father any objection or comment, but she realized in her depths that the prince was hiding some trick. She knew his marriage to her was not devoid of cunning and deception. The wedding day came. The prince arrived with his magnificent procession at the gypsy's house. People gathered, and the priest began reciting the rituals. The newlyweds sat in their place to complete the rituals, and the first 3 turns took place without anything suspicious happening. But as soon as the start of the 4th turn arrived, the prince suddenly fell to the ground, feigning a faint. His friends were aware of the plan, so their shouting rose, "He has been struck by an epileptic fit. We must take him to a safe place until he recovers, then we will bring him back." So they carried him quickly and left the ceremony before the completion of the marriage, leaving everyone in astonishment. But the bride was attentive to every movement, knowing that this was the trick the prince had threatened her with to make her neither married nor single. While the attendees were preoccupied with the prince's condition, she slipped away lightly and took his dagger. After his departure, she completed the remaining turns alone, thus completing the legal ritual entirely. The prince returned to the palace happy with the success of his plan, and he never went to bring his wife, as nothing concerned him regarding her other than executing his threat. As for the girl's father, he did not dare to complain to the king and settled for silence and heartbreak. The girl remained suffering alone, tossing between pain and thinking, remembering her promise to humiliate the prince's pride as he wasted her dignity. After a long time of patience and concealment, she resolved to execute her plan. She went to her father and said, "Oh, my father, my heart is disturbed, and my mind has been confused for a while, and I want to travel." Her father thought that travel would ease her pains, so he agreed and handed her abundant money to help her on the journey. But the girl did not intend to travel. She went out in disguise, seeking revenge. She headed to the city ruled by the prince's father, and there she bought a good house and disguised herself in the form of a gypsy milk seller. Then she bought cows of the finest breeds and began raising them in the best way, feeding them grains and nuts until their milk became among the finest produced in those lands. She began to make luxurious yogurt from the milk. Then she would go out every evening to the city square, wearing the seller's dress with some adornment, to sell the yogurt in elegant vessels. She used to sell it for 10 dirhams per vessel, which was a huge amount in that era that only those looking for something irresistible would pay. One day, the prince's friend passed by the market and asked her about the price. When he learned it was 10 dirhams, he thought she was selling an exceptional yogurt without equal, so he bought it and presented it to the prince. The prince tasted the yogurt and was dazzled by its taste and quality. He had never tasted anything with such magnificence before. He asked his friend about the secret of this yogurt, and he informed him that this milk seller's reputation had spread and that her milk was set as an example for its unique flavor. The prince said to himself, "If her milk is of this quality, how would she be?" An intense curiosity overcame him, so he decided to go himself the next day to buy from her. In the evening, while the girl was disguised in the seller's dress selling her milk in the square, the prince came to her and requested milk from her without knowing her. It did not occur to his mind for one moment that this humble gypsy was the same girl he left in the middle of his marriage. The prince continued to visit the milk seller, who was in reality his gypsy wife, every day under the pretext of buying milk. She captivated him with her beauty and attracted him with her calm charm, so he fell into her nets without realizing she was the same woman he insulted on his wedding day. The girl's plan from the beginning was to attract him to her to reclaim her dignity and retaliate for what happened to her. One day she invited him to her humble tent, so their relationship increased in closeness, and their meetings in seclusion multiplied until she became pregnant from him without his knowledge. When he came to visit her after a while, she said to him, "My absence from my family has been long, and I must return to them, for no doubt they are in anxiety over me." The prince tried to convince her to stay, but she insisted on leaving. So he took off his ring and presented it to her, saying, "When you return to our kingdom, do not live outside the palace. Present this ring to the guards, and they will enter you directly to the court." She took the ring and returned to her village, and after a while, she gave birth to a boy of strong build and extreme intelligence, and she told her father everything that happened, and that the child was the prince's own son. The boy grew with a striking, rapid growth, and he was stronger than the rest of the children and the smartest of them. If he played with them, he would overcome them and beat them. One day, one of the sons of the Brahmins made himself a horse for him, so he rode him and beat him severely. The Brahmin child fled crying to his mother, who became furious and went shouting in the face of the gypsy woman, "From where did this boy come to you? He does not stop hurting the children. Is he the son of a human or a demon?" The boy was listening to all her words, and blood boiled in his veins. After the woman left, he entered upon his mother and said sharply, "Either you tell me the name of my father, or I will not call you my mother after today." The gypsy's eyes filled with tears, and she said with a trembling voice, "I will tell you the name of your father, but on one condition, that you smear his face with blackness and that you slap him 7 times."